Hey guys, Jake here, and welcome back to another episode of the F125 Cadillac Road to Glory. And today we have got the Spanish Grand Prix, a track that I am normally very bang average at. My quali pace round here isn't great, my race pace round here isn't great, and therefore I'm expecting a really painful race, to be honest with you. I'm expecting to be in the middle of nowhere, or maybe clutching at straws for a point potentially. And it's going to be a wet qualifying, so I'm also not looking forward to that, having done no wet weather qualifying on the game so far. But straight into practice we go. It's actually been a very good start to the season by myself. We had a podium on the first race in Australia. We got points in Bahrain, and you know, every driver that we've driven as other than Imola in the race has got points. We've actually failed qualifying practice there by a long way. 7 tenths off the qualifying delta is absolutely crazy because, you know, I'm sorry, by the way, I turned my fan off to edit this and it's too hot. I'm going to have to turn it back on. So any noise you hear, it's a fan in the background. So, yeah. But we were absolutely miles off our qualifying delta and in practice. And that was kind of like a sign for me. I was kind of like, this is just going to go great, isn't it? And obviously it isn't actually going to be a dry quali. It's actually going to be a wet quali / inters, should I say. But we got all the practice programs done, got ourselves a healthy chunk of R&D points. We got ourselves 800 R&D points. Yep, 861 R&D points. And we are now in to qualifying. But it's in the wet. But it's that weird phase when I'm like, oh, dries or inters could be faster. So I go out on inters and I set myself a lap. And yeah, it is a solid 2.3 seconds off the house of Ollie Behrman. And by the time we get round to the end of the session, we've done another lap and improved, both on inters, and then we're on the softs just to risk it. And we're gaining 6-7 tenths already. We're up to 7 tenths gained as we come round the final corner, a bit more of a risk, and we're up to a whole second gained, or 9 tenths, and that literally gains us no positions. We were so far off, and it is just the fact I haven't driven in the wet. We were so far off. We're going to be starting P22 in Spain. Maybe other than grid pens, actually. But we are going to be pretty much starting last. Verstappen gets pole by 6 tenths. So if you ignore everyone else, Fernando Alonso on the front row in his home race, we are technically 2.8 seconds off the pace of second place. Mental.
It's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And it's Fernando Alonso alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Ocon, Sainz, George Russell, and Piastri. Tsunoda, Hamilton, Albon, and Lando Norris. Hulkenberg, Bortoletto, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, and Lawson. Leclerc, Colapinto, Pierre Gasly, and Lance Stroll. Doohan, Hadjar, Ompmere, and Ollie Behrman rounds off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, and joining me in the commentary box today.
So we're not quite starting last, but we are going to have to risk it this race. I don't know if we've got the race pace, and therefore I actually think we should try and maybe risk a one-stop. We haven't done a single one-stop this season. I think if there's any track where I could try and pull off this one-stop, it would be this one, because we are going to be absolutely abysmal potentially with race pace, and it could be really painful. So we just need to send it off the start. We're starting P21, not P22. So there's a positive, and if we don't get points, we don't get points. We can save the engine, retire the car, and maybe this is a double episode and we do the Canadian Grand Prix as well. But we'll have to wait and find out. The title could say double dose, or it could just say we survived Spain. But here we go. Spanish Grand Prix. We have got the formation lap coming up. Let's see what everyone is starting on. So it looks like it's going to be majority soft compound tyres. However, I don't back our tyre wear in our car, so I'm going to start on the mediums, and so Verstappen, Piastri, Hamilton, and Ottmar, my teammate. So that would indicate they're going to do one stops. I could do a 2 stops with the mediums, but do an alt strat. So let's see what I can do and pull off. So as we pull into the grid, we're starting like pretty much last. This is This is the worst it could have got. We were so far off the pace in qualifying. My teammate isn't doing great. There's not a great chance of points today. This could be the first non-point score for the team this season. And as the 5th technically best team just ahead of Aston Martin, with an Aston Martin on the front row, in the constructors it's not looking good. We've gone from fighting Mercedes to now fighting Aston Martin and potentially losing to them. So if we're going to get anything from this race, it's going to need one hell of a drive, and that will be that. That's the baseline. We need one hell of a drive today, guys. It's 5 red lights for the Spanish Grand Prix with Fernando Alonso on the front row, and it is lights out, and away we go. It's a decent getaway on the mediums, to be fair, but the second phase, you have a little bit of a wobble. We have managed to get 2 cars straight away off the start, and now we're going to look, obviously, down the inside. We're going to dump all the battery. We're just going to absolutely send it. Lap 1, if we're out, we're out, and oh my word, what a send. We send all the way up to inside, momentarily P12, but we have to settle back down for P14 for now. Side by side with Kimi Antonelli. We squeeze Kimi Antonelli out. Definitely an illegal move, but who cares? We are in no man's land in this race. Pushing another driver almost off the circuit now, battling with Antonelli, who slides back up the inside, but we're going to send it down the inside of Antonelli and get ourselves firmly up into P13 in this one. So it's an alright start. We've made up 8 positions. And now we're on the back of Gabriel Bortoleto. We are quicker than him, but he just gets better exits off the back straight. So we just have to launch it into turn 1. A Danny Rick level dive bomb. And that's what we're bringing back to the sport. We're bringing back the dive bombs, baby. And we are up into P12. So it's a very, very nice opening stint so far. And now we've got Nico Hülkenberg, and he's got Piastri fighting with Alex Albon up ahead of him. So we're going to go down the inside of our championship rival, Jam Pancakes. Sorry, Gerald Limitless is back. But, yeah, if you don't know that clip, you got to get to know. But yeah, down the inside of Nico Hülkenberg and up into P11. And Antonelli followed us through once. He's going to try follow us through again and try and get Hülkenberg himself. But we're right on the back of a McLaren and Piastri on the same strategy as me. So if Piastri's going to have a good race result today, so will we. So we're right on the back of Piastri. We're actually going for an overtake on the McLaren. Maybe we've got a bit more pace than we thought, you know. But to go round the outside of Piastri, he doesn't fight the move too hard. Straight round the outside, and now we're up against Alex Albon on the softs, and then Hamilton up ahead on the mediums. He started P8. He's just held position. He's only 3.4 seconds up the road, considering we've had to come through all this traffic. It's not bad, and we've actually cut the gap down on him with Alex Albon in front of us. Maybe there's a bit of fighting in front of Hamilton, but that's not relevant. It's all part of the game. As we look like we're going to set a personal best lap time, and I think Albon's going to come in very, very soon, so we need to get past him as soon as possible, and that is what we're going to look to do. Drain in the RAF down the main straight. We're going to shift to the left, look to the right. Albon can only make one defensive manoeuvre, and we go sliding around the outside up into P9, and already in the points with no pit stops being made in this first stint yet. But speaking of pit stops in the first stint, here we go. First round of pit stops for the soft runners, including Carlos Sainz was in the podium positions. Well, maybe not in the podium positions, but he was in a very good point scoring position, as was Fernando Alonso. He was P2. And Verstappen on that one-stop strategy, yeah, he's 20 seconds up the road on a one-stop strategy. Absolutely bananas. Max Verstappen is a freak of nature. So looking at this, you've got all of us one-stoppers still out there, still cooking. Franco Colapinto as well, I think, included in that. We're currently P3, and Colapinto doing an all-right race so far, but by the time we pick, we have 67% tyre wear, which is quite interesting. So 67% on the rear left, 69% on the front left. So it's going to be a hard tyre deg race coming up. We have, I can't remember how many laps, 18 I think laps coming up on these hard compound tyres, and we come out right back behind Gabriel Bortoleto, which isn't a good thing. But we are on the one stop. These guys have got to stop again, and I feel like we're going to have better tyre offset in a lap or two once we get these warmed up. And Bortoleto may have escaped down the road to start off with, but the leader by 20 seconds is out, which means that Fernando Alonso is leading the Spanish Grand Prix once the stops are made. So we go flying past Bortoleto eventually to P13. A bit of a slow, bit of a slow way in this race. It's taken us a while to get the hards up to pace, but we finally have. We go flying past Gabriel Bortoleto, and next up is Nico Hülkenberg and then Pierre Gasly. However, by the time those guys all pit, we haven't caught any of them, so they just pit again, and we're now up into P5 behind Fernando Alonso. And by the time the rest of these drivers pit, Fernando Alonso is going to retake the lead of the race, and we are going to come out side by side with Carlos Sainz in the Williams for P3. This could be a double Spanish podium here at the Spanish Grand Prix. These guys were just pitted, Science onto hards, most onto mediums. These guys should be flying past me. So it could be a very tough race, but I think we may be able to hold on for some points. Science, if he gets me, it could be a double Spanish podium at the Spanish Grand Prix if Alonso can catch Hamilton on the same strategy as me. But when we came out the pits, Hamilton was 10 seconds ahead of us, 10, 11 seconds ahead of us. So let's see how far he is by the end of the race, and that'll show the race pace. With 8 laps left to go, we have got Carlos Sainz right behind us, and he's going to look down the inside, but we brake late enough for him not to be able to make that move, and we are just going to sail round the first sector and keep P3. We're in P3. Everyone stopped, we're in P3. This is looking good, and all we have to do is just get a good exit off this corner, absolutely abuse ERS off the exit of this corner. This was one of the worst ones we did. This is the closest anyone really was to us, so it could be a move here for the McLaren. If Norris gets ahead, he's probably going to keep the position. We need to defend hard. He gets ahead, we brake late, we go back up the inside, and Norris isn't able to compete with the late braking. But it could be one of those. We've just got to do the same thing lap after lap, save ERS, use it all on the straight, and we could hold on to this position with even warm tyre wear. And we're coming on to the last lap. This will be the last overtaking opportunity, but we have 93% battery coming on to the final straight of the Grand Prix, the potential final overtaking opportunity of the lap. And it's the first. So here we are. Carlos Sainz is only 3/10 behind the Spaniard in the Spanish Grand Prix, using all the RS. Can we hold on to this podium? It would be an absolutely unbelievable drive. We go down the inside, he goes round the outside, we stay down the inside, we squeeze him out, and we stay in P3. Fernando Alonso is going to win the Spanish Grand Prix, and us, we're coming in now with 60% tyre wear round the final few corners. We've held on brilliantly. We've only lost 5 seconds, only 5 seconds lost to a Ferrari on this strategy, with cars behind us the whole race. This is it. We're up to the line. Can we hold on to P3? It should be all she wrote now. Sainz is going to come through for P4 for a very good Spanish Grand Prix for the Spanish fans. They would have loved the double podium, but we've ruined it as the Dutchman Jarno up there.
Yes, mate, I'll take that. Well done. We're really happy with the podium down here, so well done. Yes.
What a day it's been for Fernando Alonso. It's victory, and what a victory.
And you can just see how much this means to the fans as well. The energy that they were giving the driver all day today. A race win at home feels like 10 race wins elsewhere.
And once all the hard work is over, and after lap of brilliant racing, it's time now to celebrate with our podium trio. The most experienced driver on the grid. Congratulations, Fernando Alonso.
I can't believe it. Spanish driver Fernando Alonso finally wins in F1 at his home race, which is absolutely beautiful. And I get a podium just ahead of the Spaniard Carlos Sainz. And if you look at the best lap times, 16.8 and 16.9 from me and my teammate is actually the worst lap times of the whole Grand Prix. We have the worst best lap times of the whole Grand Prix. Me and my teammate. We had the worst race pace on this grid and both managed to gain positions. We had a massive train behind us, I know, but they were all really quick cars on different strategies and quicker strategies, and they had track position originally. That is one of the best drives of the season. We held on well, we played it smart, we didn't let anyone through strategically, we just held on to position and defended, and it puts us in a really good position in the championships, but we'll have a further look at those in just a second. But what a race that was. Fernando Alonso winning his home Grand Prix is something I've never thought I'd say again, but it's happened. I don't even know if he's ever won the Spanish Grand Prix before. I'm pretty sure he has at least once, and I would fact check it if I could be bothered, but it's not going to happen, guys. I'm sorry. So I'm pretty sure he's won at least one Spanish Grand Prix, but if not, history made for Fernando, and he will be absolutely buzzing with that. But for the constructors, I guess it's not the greatest. At least we technically conducted damage limitation, considering that neither of us were in the points, me or my teammate, and Alonso started P2. He may have won, but we got P3, so I guess that's kind of good. And now we're going to show you a couple of the upgrades we've made to the team. And finally, some menu content. Yeah, I know, like, I'm actually learning this game slightly. So, we have, first of all, a meeting with Nico Hülkenberg. I am very impressed with Nico Hülkenberg, both in real life and in the game, and I think Nico Hülkenberg deserves a seat at our team. We are a decent team, and I think if we sign Nico Hülkenberg next to Franco Colapinto, we can maybe focus on the development of Colapinto and drive as Colapinto and let Hülkenberg's AI cook and do his thing, because he has a decent AI, considering how cheap he is. So, he does want a lot. He wants a good fan rate. He wants level 7 fan rating. He wants a 204 engineering workforce. So, I do remember how to do all those things, I think. So I think we should be fine other than the fan rating, but we just got to make sure that we try to get that up as much as possible by the end of the season. And yeah, Canadian Grand Prix up next, a track that I'm very good at historically. So yeah, and we've got some upgrades to go onto the car, and because we're going to be driving as Franco Colapinto next time out, we are going to be equipping the upgrade to Jarno Opmeer to try and make sure his AI actually cooks and maybe does something. Probably not. But yeah. Just a little show that we only had 1 slot open originally. Now we've got 2, so we can actually get upgrades on in about, like, 10 days. So we got to research for, like, 6 days, 10 days to up. I mean, it's a long process, but it will get quicker over time once we grow in as a team. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. Just kind of showing you we have 2 slots open now, which is kind of cool. And we're still making the improvements. But so far this season, as Franco Colapinto, we have got a 3rd place, 14th as his AI, 9th and 9th racing, and 12th in the Spanish Grand Prix. Whereas for Opmeer, DNF, 8th, 12th, 10th, and 3rd. It's been a decent season, and it's actually looking quite good. In the championships, we've got Jarno in 8th and Colapinto in 9th, and in the constructors, we are 1 point ahead of Mercedes somehow, and 15 ahead of Cadillac. We were a lot further ahead of them before this race, but it is what it is. I've narrowed the gap slightly by 7 points. But that is what it is. Not that bothered. So, thank you all for watching this one. What a race. I'm actually really happy. I'm like, you know, the pace was decent, the driving was good, you know, and the strategy was amazing. Maybe this one stop is something I've got to push for a little bit more often, because it really did work today. We got that track position, and we just defended it really, really well. So I'll see you all next time for the Canadian Grand Prix.